my SEC quarterback rankings. So I decided to do 5. I didn't want to do 10 just because there's a lot of unknowns right now about who's going to be playing quarterback in the SEC. So I decided to do a top 5 list that I'm sure, again, people agree with everything I say, right? Everyone's always going to agree with everything you say. So without further ado, let me pull up my top 5 SEC quarterbacks that I've got. All right, if you're looking on YouTube, you see the list. You can start your discussion now. If you are listening on podcast, get ready. Here we go. We're starting at number 5. At number 5, I got Arch. Oh, I kind of maybe just spoiled that if you're listening on podcast. But no, at number 5, I've got John Mateer. So last year, let me just take you back. Last year, this guy comes from Washington State to Oklahoma. All right, he's with his OC, Ben Arbuckle. Kind of maybe some excitement around him, but a lot of people aren't talking about Oklahoma doing a lot of things dangerous. They had that tough schedule everybody was wanting to talk about. And then what happened? First 5 games, he's the Heisman favorite. And your boy had a ticket on him. So that was exciting. And then he injures his thumb, misses a game, comes back maybe a little too early against Texas, and has basically just a downward spiral of what could have been an incredible season. But his team was still winning. He got to the playoffs. And I think in that playoff game against Alabama, we really saw what he was earlier in the season. And he's a dual threat guy that was making tons of plays. And I think if we can take away the post-injury part of his season, he was the Heisman favorite. Remember that. And when you look around the SEC and you're looking at who do I think I trust at the quarterback position, I think I trust John Mateer, a healthy John Mateer, to make some noise as we get back into the fold in 2026. The schedule is going to be the schedule in the SEC. He's going to be with his OC again, same head coach, obviously, Brent Venables. I know he's not an offensive guy, but just the continuity of what they want to accomplish is going to be huge. Can they get a good run game? They didn't have a run game at all, and he was really the run game. That's all stuff we're going to have to find out. But I do believe that John Mateer, when healthy, ready to go, definitely a top 5 quarterback in the SEC. At number 4, I got Byron Brown, Auburn's quarterback. If you've listened to the show, I've said a million nice things about this guy. And again, he's 6'3", 215, Cam Newton-like build. Not Cam Newton, but Cam Newton-like build. Threw for 3,000, ran for 1,000 last year, scored a bunch of touchdowns. USF was an offensive powerhouse where they were. He's going to be with the same head coach. He's got the same weapons at USF. It's going to be, in terms of familiarity with what he's dealing with, not that big of an adjustment now. Playing different defenses, playing better defenses. Yes, that'll probably be something he's going to have to adjust to, but I think it won't be that hard. I'm not going to say it's going to be easy, but I don't think it'll be that hard for Byron Brown to adjust to the SEC landscape with the build that he's got, with the pieces he's got, with the coaching he's got. So if that makes sense to everybody, which it makes total sense to me, I think Byron Brown, I've said it again, you can go watch previous episodes, that I think Auburn, and specifically Byron Brown, are going to be very good this upcoming season. And number 3, I got Gunnar Stockton. I think Gunnar Stockton, first of all, I know he finished 7th in the Heisman last year. Okay. He had a 69.7% completion percentage, so basically 70%. He had, I think, 5 interceptions the whole season to about 30 touchdowns. He threw for almost 3,000 yards. He was the heart and soul of the team. He had so many games. You think about the Tennessee game, you think about the Ole Miss game, the first one. You think about the Texas game. In these big moments where he had to make plays against big competition on the road, at home, did not matter. He did it. The thing with Gunnar Stockton this year is a lot of people talk about he needs to be better reading stuff across the field, maybe all this stuff that you see on tape that I'm probably not smart to talk about. But I think it's undeniable to sit there and think after watching last year, and you progressively get better as a quarterback in college, right? So you have to think he's going to take a leap from where he was last year now. And I think other than the fact that Georgia's wide receiver room is maybe a little edgy, You don't really know what's going to happen there. He's still got good tight ends, Lawson Luckley, Elias Williams. He's going to have a very veteran offensive line with a great run game, with an OC that he's been working with for his pretty much his entire college career. I think Gunnar Stockton being a top 3 SEC quarterback, if you don't think he's a top 3 SEC quarterback, then I just don't know if you watched the SEC last year. He was, without a doubt, top 2 last year. I'll say top 2. All right, and number 2, I've got Trinidad Chambliss. He obviously had the whole coming back, not coming back, ineligible, eligible type thing he was dealing with for a while, but he's going to be back in Oxford. Now, he's not going to be with Lane Kiffin, so there you could make an argument that it's tough to know what exactly he will be, but doesn't matter to me at this moment, because when you're coming from a place like Ferris State, and you come and do what you do against the SEC, the way he did it last season, I know he doesn't have Charlie Weis. I know he doesn't have Lane Kiffin. He's still got Kewan Lacey, so he's going to have a great running game. All Ole Miss teams showed that they are for real when they went to the playoffs and what they did last year against Georgia. Hung with Miami, was just, got to get a defensive stop away from going to play for a national championship. Trinidad Chambliss is going to be right back on it. I don't see any stopping for this guy. He's too mobile. He's too athletic. He has too good of an arm, and I think he's going to be just as good as he was in 2025, in 2026. And number 1, I've got Arch Manning. Look, I know last year everybody got into this spell of like, well, Arch Manning's going to be the GOAT, blah, 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 blah. And it didn't work out that way, right? Like, nobody's denying that it just did not work out for Arch Manning last year in the way that it should, in the way that people perceived it as. Like, if you go back a year ago, people were saying he was going to be the number 1 pick in this year's draft. Not him, but nobody was saying Fernando Mendoza was, to be fair. But I think Arch Manning has got it all figured out now. A year under his belt, playing college football as a starting quarterback. He got better, obviously progressed throughout the year. He's probably going to know one thing: when to tuck it and run it, when to read the defense better, and the fact that he's just going to have so much talent. Even if he's not the best quarterback in the SEC, he's probably going to look like it. He's probably going to look like it going into next season with the way everything is set up for him. But more than anything, when you see the progression he had last year, like if he had just not done anything last year to get better as the season went on, maybe you could have a discussion, but you could see it. Each and every game, it got easier for him. And I think with the additions of Cam Coleman, they got a new backfield out there in Texas. It's going to be a good year for Arch Manning. He's going to have that season that is going to make him a number 1 pick in the next draft, if you ask me. So those are my top 5 quarterbacks in the SEC for 2026. Let me know what you think.